Vegas, when I looked, they had it at -1, and when I calculated the spread, I had it at -1.4. So both our calculations are pretty close there. I had the Ravens with a little bit more of an edge than they did. Um, you start looking at how the offense has performed, how the defense has performed. They're pretty similar. You got the Ravens at number 2, the Bills at number 5 on offense. You got Ravens at number 12 on defense, the Bills at 15. Pretty similar there, with the Ravens at a slight advantage. And start diving into some of the other stats, and you get down to the passing offense. Those are pretty even. You got the Ravens at 8, the Bills at 9. So the passing offense is pretty even there. And then passing defense, Ravens are at 30 and the Bills are at 20. So Bills have a little bit of an advantage in passing defense. And drop down, look at rushing defense. Well, you got Ravens at number 1 on rushing defense and the Bills at number 12. So then the Ravens have the advantage when it comes to run defense. Looking at rushing offense, the Ravens have the advantage there at number 1. The Bills are at number 9. So I'd say that's one of the little advantages in the game, is that the Ravens have a little bit better running game, especially when you consider that the two passing offenses are ranked very similar at 8 and 9. I thought the Bills would have had a little more advantage there, and they don't. Lamar's right on pace with him. So if I'm looking at edges, who has edge in what? Well, I think the Ravens have a little bit better run defense. They're elite, not just good. They're number 1. So really hard to run against. Will the Bills be able to run at all? At all? Will Josh Allen be able to run at all? That's what I'm asking. Now, the pass defense isn't good for the Ravens, but when you're one-dimensional, that's usually not good. There's snow in the forecast. This could turn into a sloppy snow game. There's been snow in the forecast all week. If it turns into just a ground and pound game, I'm liking Derrick Henry in this one, right? He's elite, not just good. There again, elite. And I feel like Josh Allen and Lamar are pretty similar. When you talk about throwing, running, maybe one's a little bit better than the other at one or the other, but they're both just on that elite level. I don't have anybody at a big advantage there when you look at quarterback. I see the big advantage being the running back and Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews is a beast. He is another elite player. So the Ravens are sitting there with probably more studs than the Bills. That's really what I see this game coming down to, because it's so close, is that I just see more studs on the side of the Ravens with Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews, and that number 1 run defense. I'm thinking that's enough to get it done in a sloppy, cold game. I have the Bills defense at being combined at 15, which is one of the lower ranked defenses. So let's see if they can stop the run against the Ravens in the cold. And, being that the game is outdoors and it's very similar to conditions where the Ravens play at home, the Ravens also play outdoors on turf, just like the Bills do. So I don't see there being any big advantage there beyond the crowd noise. It's not like the Ravens are going, from indoors to outdoors, or they're coming from California, or they're coming from Florida. They're used to the cold, and they've got that running game, which is going to carry in the cold. But I would say the Bills' one big chance is the pass defense of the Ravens. I think, the Bills should be able to pass the ball. I mean, there's no reason why they shouldn't be able to. They got a really good offensive line. If that offensive line can hold up in pass blocking long enough, then, yeah, the Bills will be able to move the ball up and down the field. The problem there is if it is windy, if it is a little bit cold, if they can't complete passes, if both teams can't complete passes, and it turns into just a running game, the Ravens have the advantage here. And so there again, my money on this game is on the Ravens money line and also on the under. I like taking these unders in the playoffs, cold weather, snow, running games. Yeah, that's where I'm gonna put my money on these two. And I just I have 5 bets total this weekend. So yeah, Ravens money line, Eagles -6, Chiefs -8.5, the Ravens under, the Eagles under. And if I get lucky, I'll win 3 of those 5. That's what I'm aiming at. Come out with a profit, come out a little bit ahead. Either you get a little more lucky than that, win a little more money, or not as lucky and we'll lose a little bit. But I try to place 5 bets. That way it comes out decisive. When you place an odd number of bets, sometimes when you place an even, like 4 bets, you win 2, you lose 2, and it's just a draw. I like to make it odd there and decisive. So yeah, I think all those bets, they play the statistics. They're lining up with the best teams and the weather as well with the unders. So yeah, I mean, the money Mahomes won. Patrick Mahomes has won me money in the past. I'm wondering if that's not an emotional bet there a little bit. So I'd say that if there's one of those 5 that I was a little iffy on, I'd say it's probably the Chiefs -8.5 if I had to pick one. But I feel really good about the Ravens money line, Eagles -6, and the unders in those 2 games as well. Feel really good about those. So, yeah, on the Chiefs -8.5, I was actually 50-50 on whether I wanted to take the Lions 9.5 or the Chiefs 8.5. And I guess the reason I took the Chiefs was being that, number one, Patrick Mahomes, I feel comfortable putting my money on him. And the game being outdoors in the cold, and then the Texans' offensive line, hopefully for me and my money, not holding up. So, yeah,
Hey,
it's a gamble, it's a risk.
yeah, it's going to be a fun weekend. Really good weekend, a lot of good matchups, and it feels like a lot of these matchups are going to be determined. They could be determined early in the game. It depends on who gets a fast start and who gets out early, take out the run game of the other team, or there are a lot of different games. All these games to go, but you know what, man, the Ravens and the Bills game, I can't decide on this game. I keep going back and forth. I mean, 1 minute I'm taking the Bills, next I'm taking the Ravens. I think I'm going to go with the Bills. And yeah, the Ravens' run game much better. Their run defense much better, and they can pass the football just about as well. Zay Flowers is out. I'm pretty sure Zay Flowers isn't going to play, so that's a big loss for the Ravens. But I don't know, man. Like I think I'm going to stick to my gut on this one because I really can't pick, and my gut is the Bills because I think Josh Allen and the many weapons that he has. I mean, Khalil Shakir, Dalton Kincaid, Keon Coleman. Keon Coleman has impressed me. I did not think he was going to be that guy in the NFL, but quarterback like Josh Allen, he's definitely helping his case, helping him out. Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox, James Cook out of the backfield as well. I mean, the Bills have all these weapons, so I'm going to trust those Bills weapons more. But like you said, if this game turns into a shootout, the Ravens are still probably going to be able to run the football just as well. So, I mean, but they probably won't be able to pass as well, considering the Bills' passing defense is a lot better than theirs. And I'd say the Bills and Ravens passing game are similar, but the discrepancy between the passing defenses could be the winner for the Bills, can be the difference for the Bills. But this game, as you see, I don't even know who to pick for certain parts of this game. I can't make a decision on this game. So you know what? I'm sticking with my gut feeling for the Bills. I'm sticking with the Bills, and this is a game I wouldn't put any money on myself. Don't listen to me though. I mean, this man knows his stuff a lot more than me when it comes to gambling. So he's a much better bet in that terms.
Well, and
But
it is a coin flip. I'd say
yeah,
it's a coin flip for your money. But in a very even matchup, if you can find a small advantage, that usually is the decisive advantage. In basketball, when 2 teams are very close, I like to go with the team that's a better free throw shooting team because if it's going to be a close game, down at the end of the game when they're shooting free throws, give me the better free throw shooting team, right? Especially if they're at home. I see this as kind of the same matchup. Like, it's just going to be a very close game. Who's going to get that final score? Who's going to have that big turnover? You're right to go with your gut. I remember you picked the Rams when the rest of us on the crew didn't. So you were the only one right about that, and you can be right here as well. Sometimes your gut can be right, and this is it's a 50-50 game. It could go either way.
Yeah.
And the Bills have some advantages, being at home. I think the Bills' offensive line is a very, very good offensive line. So I'm interested to see the matchup between strength on strength there. How does that Bills' offensive line match up against that Ravens' defensive line? Because